Do you have a favorite piece of media that seems to have gone downhill lately? Like maybe the demographic of the community has shifted over time, maybe slow enough that you might not have noticed until it was everywhere? Have you ever been told something along the lines of, imagine liking X and being Y, chud? What you're experiencing is a concept known as Troongating. In life, there are creative types who can make things and uncreative types who cannot. It's relatively safe to say that in general, creatives outnumber the uncreatives in a normal advanced society like ours. That typically results in a lot of things being created, like all of this media. But sometimes the uncreative types have certain desires regarding their media. And because they have neither the will nor the talent to create things on their own, they have to resort to infiltrating things that already exist, changing them to suit their needs. But how do they accomplish this? Through cultural influence. Power. Have you ever heard of St. Peter's Cross? It's a story a Christian friend of mine once told me. St. Peter was killed by the Roman Empire. He was meant to be crucified, but he felt he was not worthy of dying as Christ had before him, so they crucified him upside down. The symbol of the inverted cross was initially a Christian symbol about St. Peter, but because the general public was unaware of this story, over centuries the cross became a symbol of rebellion, of objection to the Christian God. The actual meaning of this symbol is irrelevant to the normie because truth is irrelevant to the normie. Over time, the inverted cross as an anti-Christian symbol became sort of a social truth, a myth that nobody questioned because it's not really deemed important enough. That's what the left does to your media. Through cultural influence, they can manufacture a social truth anytime they please, exactly like they did with St. Peter, accidentally. And as a result, you get trans masked Sonic, you get trans Paper Mario characters. You can weaponize this phenomenon and create any kind of truth that you want. Those things are not true to the original media, but they became true because a bunch of trans activists infiltrated and made it so. Today, I'd like to take you through some notable examples of Troongating. This is a pretty serious issue because you'll notice that all of my examples come out of communities mostly consisting of 12-year-olds. I myself have been targeted by transgender groomers who will slide into your DMs and talk to you about HRT. This is not a joke, this is not hyperbole. All that said, let me show you a couple examples of Troongating. Team Fortress 2 is the origin of class-based shooters. While the target demographic all the way back in 2007 was teenagers and adults, the cartoony art style of the game drew in a lot of children, myself included. I played this game as early as 8 years old. Many of the other children were around my age. It was commonly accepted that squeakers exist within TF2. We were as much part of the ecosystem of this game as any other normal player. There were so many of us that people turned away from TF2 because they saw it as a game for squeakers. But while that dissuades the casual FPS player, it attracts the transgender. You could ask around and find a specific timeline for when it happened. I was too young to understand. What I can tell you is that over the course of a few years, TF2 became almost entirely overrun by Redditors and Troons to the point where today, the game is in worse shape than it's ever been and no one dares have a problem with that. The only people shitting on the objectively poor state of TF2 are the chuds like you and I. If you have a problem with the broken matchmaking system, the community server downfall, you are just a grifting chud. Because the left now controls the majority of the game, the few community servers that remain are so heavily moderated and censored that nobody bothers to open their mouths and speak because they're afraid of getting banned on what is likely the last populated server they know. But curiously, the people that do open their mouths all have pronouns in their Steam usernames. And what do these troons have to say? Well, let's take a listen.
On three. 1, 2, 3.
This is peak. This is peak TF2 right now. Peak TF2.
It's furry fetish shit in the same server as your 12-year-old. Yay! And when they're not making the fucking cat girl noises at each other, they're straight up just talking about sex. I've gone to the Uncletopia servers a few times. I don't love playing there because it runs a competitive light rule set, but like I said, few servers are populated. The last time I went there, they were having a full-on debate about the dick size of fictional characters that you play as. They went into quite a bit of detail. The rules on Uncletopia forbid topics like this. You can't even really have banter with your opponents over there, and yet, here, sit two moderators and a lobby full of Redditors talking about spies' pubes. The left has no morals. The left has no rules. Those are all just regulations placed upon you, the chud, the conservative, the Nazi, whatever they want to call you, a normal person. Those rules are there for you, not them. It's entirely a front so that they can say, look, it's all above the board here. We have rules against sexual topics. We're not groomers. But that doesn't mean they enforce those rules fairly. Now, I'm not trying to say that Uncle Dane is a fucking rapist, no. I doubt he even knows what goes on in some of these servers. What I am insinuating is that his team of transgender Reddit mods who are overly sexual shouldn't be near kids. Factor in the rules forbidding this and the mass amounts of children playing this game, and you have a breeding ground for grooming. The opportunity for a groomer to wander into Team Fortress 2 and start talking to children is always going to be there as long as groomers are allowed to wander. Now let me be clear, the issue is not with having communication features. The issue is with letting these people use it. When TF2 was new, it was mostly people like you or I. Today, it's almost entirely leftist Redditors because the community didn't gatekeep them hard enough. But what about a franchise that was explicitly made for children? What about one that isn't populated by adults who have a platform to do something about this? We've all heard of Pokemon. It's kind of my whole thing. Children from all across the earth play Pokemon every single day. From mobile games to the Switch, this is a franchise explicitly for children around the age of 10. So, what the hell is this? What's that all about? That's kind of weird, projecting a fetish onto a children's game. Let's take a look at this reply. How do you like Pokemon and you're transphobic? Remember what I said at the start of the video? I want you to take a wild guess how often people say this to me. That's it. That's what Troongating is. They took over this community for 8-year-olds because we could not possibly have fought back. They took advantage of our weakness, our innocence, and used it to have their way. Sound familiar? Universe based on NYC. So they made a non-binary snake starter to represent Bushwick. Now, for those of you who aren't autistic leftists, Bushwick is a shorthand that refers to a Brooklyn leftist, typically a socialist or anarchist. They're leftoids who either live in or idealize the concept of Bushwick, the historically working class, now gentrified neighborhood in Brooklyn. This kind of person embodies performative radicalism. It's basically just commie LARPing for city-slicking know-it-all hippies. That's what they're projecting onto this game for 10-year-olds. There are hundreds of these. The rabbit hole never ends. How bad do you think this problem is for a game like Roblox or fucking Five Nights at Freddy's? I get transgenders sending me threats in my DMs and thinly veiled grooming attempts every week, usually 2 or 3. What would happen if I were about 5 years younger? I'd be 11 years old. I'd have no defense for this kind of thing. Lots of children that age can get one-shotted by insane radical leftists trying to turn them into this.
But first, I'd like to properly introduce myself for the first time. Hi, my name is Jack, or Lucifer. My pronouns are he, it. I'm 19. I'm aroaced and gay, ooh la la. My favorite colors are red, black, and yellow. I'm a demon kitty. I love rainbows and tacos and cats and randomness. I love scene and decora K and emo, but that's pretty obvious, isn't it? I have evil autism. I love South Park.
This person, this particular individual, this user, famously claims to have been groomed at age 12 by a 14-year-old who was also groomed by another crazed animation person on a sleazy Discord server that you or I would never be allowed into because I say things like faggot and you want remigration. Are we on the same page? What do you think happens when the community of whatever children's thing runs out all the adult fans who are not far left enough for what it is they're about to do? All that's left, the only people remaining in this space for 10-year-olds are the actual 10-year-olds and a bunch of literal communist predators. What are you going to do when all the hobbies that you have get overrun by people who want to have you arrested for being vaguely right-wing? Now, you're probably asking yourself, dude, why are you bitching about this and providing no actual solution to the problem? And you'd be right, because I can't be too sure what that solution actually looks like. So I've prepared a few ideas, and I would like to present them so that maybe we can begin to have some kind of dialogue on what a permanent solution to Troongating even looks like. You could say that we're here to find the final solution. Now, the obvious way to stop bad actors from infesting your community is through healthy gatekeeping. But the problem is, we cannot realistically expect children nor their parents to gatekeep the things that children like. Obviously, a parent can gatekeep Lily Tino at least 500 yards away from the playground, but mom don't have time to make sure that Giggly Goon Clown 69 doesn't post in the Fortnite Discord server. It would be great if she did, but we both know she's not gonna, cause she works a full-time job. Normally, that would be fucking Fortnite's job, but we can't actually trust them to do that job. Whether you think that's right or not, all the same as the parents, we can't be sure that they're actually gonna do it. Which brings me back to the adult fans I mentioned before. The next time the left makes you feel uncomfortable about enjoying something that you have your entire goddamn life, don't be a pussy and let them run you out of it. You guys loved comic books, you loved cape shit, but you didn't gatekeep it hard enough, and now Batman punches ICE agents. At a certain point, the cultural conflict for these kinds of things happens almost exclusively online and at conventions. As the adult fans, you have to gatekeep those for the sake of the children fans. If you like Minecraft, you shouldn't ever have been putting up with insane transgenders in your communities. Think of the fucking children the next time you see this shit sprout up somewhere. You have the power to put a stop to this before it hurts someone. Now, as for adult media, it can get a lot more complicated because the left can more heavily lean on one of their favorite fallacies: media literacy. When the discussion is about media with a complex, nuanced narrative designed for people who aren't 10 years old, it gives the left a lot more wiggle room to use all the talking points. They'll often tell you that whatever thing you like is secretly making fun of you as a way to sow a seed of insecurity in your mind. They'll often compound this by investing as many things as they possibly can, which makes you feel like the whole world is against you. You feel like the whole planet has gone crazy over the course of a few years if you're a normie who doesn't pay attention to politics. That's the game. That's the shtick. Now that you know the shtick, it doesn't work on you. Surprise! That's the entire solution. Understand how their bullshit manipulation techniques work and all their gay therapy language they weaponize against you, and then share that knowledge with as many people in your game's community as possible. It's critical that you do this as early as you can, because they have narrative control. They can spread their ideas much faster than you can counter them. It has to be done early on so that you don't wake up to this in 5 years. In the wake of 4chan's death, caused of course by Troongating and poor management, the Anons fled to other image boards that I will not name because I don't want to flood them with immigrants. But to those who have found themselves on these new image boards, I say this: learn from your history. Do not let them set a single fucking toe inside your forum. Anyone left of CK does not need to be here. This is a forum for adults. We have no obligation to be fair about this. The left are not being fair by Troongating, obviously. So why should we be fair to them? Which brings me to my last suggestion. we infest things right back. Twitter was the foremost hive of the left after Tumblr shat the bed with the porn ban and drove most of their degenerate users off the platform, until it was infiltrated by someone on the right who took control in a legitimate fashion. Obviously, I'm not suggesting you all become billionaires and buy everything. I'm suggesting you consider infiltrating whether it's legitimate or not. Take control of a moderation team by getting yourself and like-minded individuals into positions of power on some community that you like. Apply with your friends to become junior mods, rise up the ranks, and then suffocate the left. This is the same exact MO seen in every single Troongating case, including Team Fortress 2. Don't you get it? The left doesn't own radical politics. They don't own force and subversion. If that's what it takes to win, then why aren't we doing it? Because we so give a shit if they call us mean names over it? They already call you a Nazi and you aren't a radical. What are they gonna do, call you a super Nazi? At the end of the day, Robert Conquest's second law of politics is never wrong. Any institution not explicitly right-wing inevitably becomes left-wing, and we both know the reason why that happens. Why limit ourselves and let them walk all over us? I don't know what the right path is, but how am I supposed to if nobody is willing to decide? The left is a hive mind, but that makes them unified. By the time I was born, they were organized, they were growing, and they were everywhere. Use that against them. Who knows, infiltrate the right community, and you might stumble upon some awful secret they thought they could trust you with. Make the right friends with the shitlib artist community, and you might accidentally get led into their Discord full of illegal porn and domestic terrorism. You wouldn't be the first person to find yourself in exactly that scenario. There are default libs who don't really understand that the left is trying to do things like legalize child porn. They're on the left because they don't know much about this stuff, they just think equality and inclusivity sound nice. But what happens is, these default libs often make the wrong friends in these shitlib communities, and certain doors get open to them. If the default lib looks inside the private recesses of the left, they might not like what they find. So oftentimes they just take screenshots, keep their heads down, and then when someone gets into a drama, they leak everything. That's exactly what happened to Cinebear. Why am I waiting for the left to eat its own? Can you tell me if there's really anything wrong with this train of thought? With the thought of infiltrating and spying on these people who want to kill me? Thank you for watching. Leave a like and a comment down below, all that horse shit. I'll see you in the next video.